accident. I did my undergraduate dissertation on the Accrington Pals, and there was a mention on Wikipedia, which didn't even have a link to its own page, that there was a Cambridgeshire one. So when I moved to Cambridgeshire, I started going into the Cambridgeshire collection. So most of the research comes from local newspapers, which reported a lot more than you would expect, given that there was supposed to be censorship. So you get a lot of details about individual men in the battalions, a lot of letters home, a lot of information about casualties. So soldiers who were wounded wrote particularly graphic letters to the press. Usually if they'd been killed, the officer writing home would try and spare the family's feelings, but the ones who were survived and wrote home wounded often wrote of sort of people being blown up and quite graphically. So one of the things I did with that research was that I came into it for interest and built up a huge pile of notes. As it seems to be quite a local history thing that you end up with massive stacks of notes and database of all the soldiers in the battalion, and started collecting items from Cambridgeshire that were related to the First World War, so postcards, and I even managed to get hold of a First World War shovel, which was great because then I was able to take that to Queen Edith's, which does a local history or a history fun day for all the children. And the advantage of a First World War shovel is that it is metal and solid, and if you give it to a 5-year-old, they can't hurt it. I mean, they can hurt themselves with it, but they can't hurt the actual shovel. So you can. I found it very interesting how the children really wanted to engage with a kind of something they could hold, something they could see that was a real piece of history, even if perhaps not a very important piece of history in the grand scheme of things. So the battalion itself is a very interesting story. Like most PALS battalions, it suffered huge losses on the first day of the Somme. 187 men killed on that one day alone. But again, like a lot of the other local battalions, it did carry on after the Somme. And many of the men who were in the battalion later did still come from Cambridgeshire, even if they were conscripts, because the War Office still ended up shuffling people into local battalions, just not under quite the same, it wasn't in quite the same way. It wasn't that they'd enlisted together, it was just that Cambridgeshire was part of the recruiting area for the Suffolk Regiment. So if you enlisted in Cambridgeshire as a conscript, you still had a reasonable chance of ending up in that battalion.
And it's absolutely brilliant the way you brought it all together with the pictures of the men and way up. But again, I was so impressed to meet you at Queen Edith's, because how we got together. But that Sunday, that local history fun day that you were at, you were sitting there with your table amongst, there was so much else that was going on around you, wasn't there? There was country dancing, and there were people doing reminiscence and whatever. And there in that school where you've got people who'd obviously come from all around the world in their earlier days, and they were all donating, and it was really a very good example of the way local history can unite people and bring them together, and it's absolutely fantastic. So well done for what you've done on this, and with all the books that have come out on the First War, but obviously the association people, this is absolutely very special. So many thanks. Maybe just give you a little bit of paper. It's only a little bit of paper, but it does come with real appreciation of what you've done. Keep it up. What's your next? What are you doing next?
So I'm currently partway through a PhD, also on Cambridgeshire during the First World War. But my probable next research project that might turn into a book is on the Palm Dutt family that lived on Mill Road, and their two sons were founding members of the Communist Party of Great Britain. The daughter was also very involved in communism and worked for the International Labour Organisation in Switzerland. So it's a really interesting story that I found out about by complete fluke, because one of them turned up in a tribunal record in the local paper, and because they had an unusual surname, I thought, well, if I Google them, you never know what you might find. And what I found was 37 boxes of material at the Labour History Archive in Manchester, and a huge story about these two young men who were at the purse, and then the purse kind of disowned them and turned the plaque of honour on the wall around when he got arrested for being a conscience objector. Brilliant book, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned Labour History. Of course, Nick Mansell was at Labour History there, and he's great, a local lad who was so interested in the First War, and fantastic. Thank you. Again,